Have you ever wondered what a get-rich-quick guide from, say, over 100 years ago would even look like? What were the original hustles? Well, we got our hands on one, so today we're going to jump into a fascinating time capsule, a book called 1,000 Ways to Make Money, published all the way back in 1900.
Right from the jump, the author, a guy named Paige Fox, makes this incredibly bold promise. He asks, do you want to know how our rich men made their money? We give the secrets away by the hundred. I mean, come on, that's an irresistible pitch, right? You can just feel the sheer confidence of that era.
And you got to understand, this wasn't just some old, dusty book of advice. It was meant to be a real-deal manual for success in an America that was changing by the minute. The promise of a fortune felt real, and it was supposedly available to anyone with enough grit to go out and get it.
And Fox is quick to point out that his book is different. It's not filled with those vague sayings like, just work hard and believe in yourself. No, he says this is a storehouse of facts, hints, helps, and practical ideas. And the best part? It's filled with hundreds of trade secrets never before given away. This was meant to be an actual blueprint for building wealth.
So, what were these big secrets? Well, before we get to the wild money-making schemes, the book lays out some ground rules for anyone trying to climb the ladder. And what's wild is how much they still ring true today. Let's call them the hustler's timeless rules.
Okay, check this out. Rule number 1, the secret of work. Basically, be proactive, look busy, and show initiative. Rule 2, the bridled tongue. In other words, don't argue with your boss. Courtesy pays. Simple enough. 3, studying the stair above. Know the job of the person ahead of you. Show them you're ready for that next step. And my personal favorite, Rule 4, the microscopic eye. This is all about looking for opportunities that everyone else is missing. I mean, this is basically a 1900s guide to making yourself indispensable.
And really, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. It wasn't just about your skills, it was about who you were. The book puts it plainly. Character is power. It seems like even back then, integrity was considered the ultimate currency.
So once you've got your character in check, where do you actually start making money? Well, this is where it gets really fun. The book is jam-packed with ideas for businesses you could run right out of your own house. Basically, turning your kitchen into a little factory of profit. And the potential profits he talks about are just staggering. Get this. He suggests buying old secondhand books for a penny each, and then turning around and selling them for 10 cents. That is a 900% return. It's the perfect example of the book's core philosophy. Find value where literally nobody else is even looking.
The advice gets incredibly detailed too. Take this plan for selling cooked ham. The book breaks it all down for you. A 10-pound ham costs $1.20. You can sell it for $3. It even tells you to account for shrinkage and waste. Your net profit? $1.35. Now that may not sound like much, but in 1900, that was real money, especially for a side hustle. This wasn't just an idea. It was a business plan on a plate.
And the list of things you could make from home is just a wild ride. You could sell crystallized grasses for decoration, or maybe whip up some artificial honey. How about a batch of chow chow, which is a kind of pickle relish, or a homemade cough syrup called a lung preserver? You could even make dominoes, which, get this, were actually just little decorated pieces of sponge cake. The creativity is just off the charts.
But it wasn't just about selling cakes and pickles. The book was totally tapped into the optimism of the industrial age. There's a huge section dedicated to what it calls the invention gold rush.
The belief in the power of one great idea was just immense. Fox claims that a good patent could be sold for anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000. I mean, think about that. That was an absolute fortune back then. We're talking set-for-life money.
So that begs the question, right? What kind of world-changing inventions were people actually asking for at the turn of the century? What problems did they think desperately needed solving?
Well, the answers are this amazing mix of the practical and the kind of peculiar. The world needed an easy-working bureau, a dresser with drawers that don't stick, a nailless horseshoe, a collapsible barrel to make shipping easier. And then you get to my favorites, a dishwashing machine that only costs $5, and of course, the holy grail, the self-igniting cigar. Can you even imagine?
Okay, so we've covered the timeless rules, the home businesses, the call for inventions. But now,
we get to the absolute strangest, most bizarre, most outlandish ways to get rich that Paige Fox could possibly dream up. You might want to strap in.
This first one is, well, it's something else. The book actually suggests that an aspiring writer could make money by going to a mental asylum, listening to the patients, and then weaving their wild, harrowing tales into sensational stories for magazines. Yeah, a truly wild idea.
If you were more of an outdoorsy type, you could go hunting. The suggestion was to sell fat quails to restaurants or to catch colorful tropical birds. Why? Because their feathers were in huge demand for decorating ladies' hats, which was a massive fashion trend at the time.
Tapping right into the headlines of the day, the book brings up a scheme to extract gold from seawater. It does mention that one guy who promoted the idea ran off with $100,000, but it still leaves the door open that maybe, just maybe, the science could actually work. That hope was always there. Here's a trade secret for you. Magic silk. The book describes a chemical process that could treat regular cotton and give it this brilliant, shiny, silk-like finish. The angle was obvious. You could create a fabric that looked expensive for a fraction of the cost. Huge profits to be made.
And just when you think you have heard it all, you turn the page and see this headline, Money in Rats and Mice. No, the idea wasn't to get rid of them. It was to raise and breed pure white or uniquely marked rats and mice to sell at pet shows. The book claims a prized rodent could sell for up to $12, a small fortune for a fancy rat. I'm not making this up.
So, after all this, what do we take away from this journey into the mind of a 1900s hustler? I think this quote from the book just sums it all up perfectly. The American nation is a wasteful one. Material is lost which if saved would be enough to make many people rich. That's the real secret, isn't it? Whether you're selling ham, inventing a folding barrel, or even raising fancy rats, it's all about seeing opportunity where other people only see trash. It's such a fascinating look back. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If Paige Fox were writing this book today, what would be our magic silk? What's the collapsible barrel of the 21st century? What strange hustle would he tell us is the #1 way to make money right now? Something to think about.